What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another series here. I've got the London system for you guys. This is an opening that's special to me. I think it's a big reason why I became a Grandmaster. I think I'm very good at the opening, and I've got some tips and tricks that I'm hoping to teach you guys along the way here as we start at 800 ELO and work our way up. I will only be able to include the games with the white pieces, of course, but I decided to run this series idea anyway, so if you see some jumps in rating, that's probably why. Enjoy the series. White pieces, London incoming, here it is. E6, D5, we're gonna go for E3. This move again, like, I'm really tempted to just play even a move like E4, but okay, to stick within the London here, we're gonna play this. What is this move? He's really thirsty for this, isn't he? Like, he wants to play this and trap my bishop. What is going on with this guy? Is there any way to punish him for this behavior? Knight F3 is just a good normal move, but what on earth is going on here? He's like gonna play F6 or what? I really don't know what's going on. So when I see these moves again, I always am more inclined to play C4 and Knight C3 than C3 and Knight D2. So far, most of the Londons that we've seen, they haven't been very interesting in terms of getting the setup because people keep wasting time over here. And look, if people are gonna do that, like, I'm just gonna go here. All right, he's got a threat now. I got to admit, we're just gonna play H3, typical London move. Okay, I mean, he's the boss. But again, it doesn't really, do much for him. I'm gonna play this so that he doesn't get D5. I think he's just gonna be really cramped here, so I'm playing D5. I don't have any patience for his setup here. There's maybe some ideas like this, but just simple development is not a bad idea. Okay. Can only expect bishop b7. Bishop a6. Okay. Well, he definitely got me as I did not expect it, that's for sure. Thinking of leaving the pawn there. We gotta keep our 28 moves in mind. But he's not claiming the center at all. At all. So how do we want to do this? Knight e5, d6. It's a little bit annoying. There's also bishop e5, which does more than it looks like. And then queen e2, playing a long castle is sort of the slower approach. I'm just wondering if I need to be hasty here, because I have a move sort of goal in mind. I'm gonna go here, and I'm thinking that he's gonna do this. He could go f6, which is much worse. Yeah, and I mean, I have like some checks, knight d7, but the king escapes. Not necessarily sure if that's great for me. He could also take this in a funny way, so I'm just gonna go back. Doesn't make any sense. Let's go back. Curious what he's gonna do. Okay, this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted. We tried to play our moves and look like we were as weak as possible. We baited him into taking that pawn. But getting the dub soon is gonna be tricky. We wasted a lot of moves so far. And you don't want to pre-move this because they could play that move, yeah. Okay. So somehow we have to win this game in not a lot of moves. Takes, knight takes, threatens that. That's a big threat. Big threat. Is there any better than just taking? Like technically knight takes here might be extremely good. Or like queen c6. We gotta really think about this though. I think we just take the queen, honestly. Don't mess around. Knight takes here, knight c6, I think. That could be a very good move. That does look like a good move. Which is weird to see him play one. Doesn't feel right. Something feels off here. Yeah, the problem with queen c6 takes is I've wasted a lot of moves, and if the guy has a queen on the board, it's not that easy to just win the game. It's usually easy to win positions where they don't have a queen. Just from experience. Probably knight e6 mate idea. So like knight b5, knight here, knight here. Rook c1 might be the more correct move. It's going to be very close, I think. Very close. The thing is, if I go here now, I think it's too obvious what I want to do. He's just going to go here. So I'm trying to save it. Trying to save it for later. Okay, so now they like doing this. It's a great time to go like that. I know knight c7 is tempting, but if he sacks and the king runs, I'm not going to be able to do it. So this has a very high chance of working. We're not totally dependent on it, but it would be nice. Nice. 25 moves. There we go. Dr. Lord Mayonnaise in the dirt, trying to bet against the house. Lord have mercy. You're the Lord, Dr. Lord Mayonnaise, and we don't see any mercy from you, bud. There we go. 25. Look at that. Dr. Lord Mayonnaise with 20 more gifted subs. I'm telling you. He's pulling that slot machine and it's going under 28.5 every game. Every game. 60 subs from Dr. Lord Mayonnaise because he just doesn't understand the house always wins. Not sure what it was, but I'm sure we learned something. But this is nice. We get to play... Okay, we get to play against f6, knight f6, e3, queen there, usually queen c1. It's one of the few lines, like it's very rare in general, I feel like, for people to play this and this. Like, I would say it's kind of strange. Let's go not there. What is this? Ah, here, d6. What? Let's take. Whoa! That was a feisty little pre-move from Pal here. This looks like a good trap to just remember. You'll find this trap in a lot of openings, but it's certainly good to remember here. Right? Anytime your bishop has the pawn on e3, not defended, this is a very common way to lose it. Not my guy's first rodeo, I would say. Let's just go here. Force the lad back. I'm sure he's fine to do it. Thing is, if you take, there's also queen a5, so it's not really forcing anything. We can get c4 in. e6. Okay, it's definitely time for c4, not c3 once again. But he's done a really weird thing where he's put like c6, queen b6, so let's continue. Knight c3. Queen c1, system vibes. Rook here to play b4 kind of runs into bishop f5, which doesn't look that nice. I think I'm gonna try this. Takes knight a4. Tony for the next candidate. He was very impressive. Wouldn't put it past him. Okay, surely we gotta get b5 there. What's the idea? I guess he's gonna go there just because it never feels good to go back like to the square you just came from. What happened to channel points? We've never had them. No channel points. Should have played queen a3 first. That was a less good move. Can't really stop e5, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Not exclusively Alan, but certainly helped. Certainly helped. We got Yahweh 42069. I tell you, you definitely get some interesting lads like Tony in the 5-minute pool. The 3-minute pool, I don't think Tony's roaming there. I don't think he's swimming in 3-minute pool. This guy sounds like a bro for sure, Dr. J Bird. He's a bro for sure. Yeah, 5 only makes sense. I think we bring this back now. E4 95. C6 is loose. Might have to just go back bishop d7 because yeah, these other options don't look too nice. Bishop c6. We can try to just push this guy forward. There was nothing to dab on there. Because we're actually not we're not crushing. I'm actually gonna go back and look at what this guy did in the opening, because it was very tricky. Like I didn't fall into any of the tricks, but I feel like I didn't exactly vocalize everything. Let's bring the rook in. Because c6 queen b6 is like, I mean, it's a bit of a strange version of the London. But he had some real poison there. I could see a lot of people getting in trouble. We still in the wrong scene? Yeah, I guess we are, aren't we? I guess we are, aren't we? We're still on the investigate Tony scene. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff the jokey joke. Doesn't look very comfortable because bishop e8 will lead to d7. I think you could take this first, but I almost like taking here more because if he plays rook f8, then we just, oh, I was gonna say, if he guards it, then we just take there. I don't even need this. Oh, definitely a good game. Fun line. Yeah, so here you can play a few different things. Maybe e3 is like not the best, but seems fine to me. The only thing is knight f3 might be slightly better. Still, there's maybe a lot of lines where you're playing queen c1 anyway. So here, queen b6, I think you still play queen c1. e3, queen b6. Then after queen c1, knight h5. I think you have to take this, and I gotta be honest, this doesn't feel very good because you go here, d6 hits you back, and if you go here, you're just losing the bishop, and here drops it. Normally after this move, you should be able to play that. Because you can't here, I mean, it's not bad for white. We saw the game just progress, but it's definitely not what you want. So I feel like e3 maybe slightly inaccurate here. Knight f3 feels like maybe more solid. Because then, you know, you can deal with this like this. And if knight h5 now, well, it doesn't make as much sense. Like, you even have bishop d2, bishop g5. So I feel like knight f3 instead of e3 is smarter. Well, the thing is you can play c4, but the thing with c4, black doesn't have to keep playing like this. He still can, and probably queen b6 is still a decent move. But if you play d5, all of a sudden, it's as if you're playing this opening, the Slav. And in the Slav, for white to then play like bishop f4 is very strange. Alright, it's like, feels a little bit weird to me. It's like, sometimes you can get tricked into playing an opening that you don't really mean to play when you play c4. So just always something to be careful of. C4 is fine. I'm a little, always a little apprehensive playing this. I guess you just have to know some Queen's Gambit stuff after d5. Not everyone wants to go into that. Because what happens a lot after d5 is, you know, there's positions where there's an exchange, knight gets to d5, and the bishop's a little weird on f4. But c4 is a good looking move. Just for someone who really wants to be a system player, let's say. You know, all jokes aside, if you really want to play like the London system, then I feel like this, it gets you into some new territory. Whereas at least this stays a bit more consistent with the MO. c4 is a normal move in some Londons, but you want to make sure that you're playing it only after, let's say your opponent does, I don't know, knight c6 or waste time with like h5 or some weird move. System players, that's right. You guys are system players. You're here watching me. Got white again. Okay. You get straight up d6. So there are some Londons with knight c3. I'm going to stick to the ones with e3 for now. And if I see this, I'm probably going to be playing it pretty quick. h3. This is a pretty good example of when I would definitely consider the move c4. Knight c3. Because my opponent's pretty much playing like a hippo. Like if I play c3, I'm just not going to have enough space to have any meaningful threats here. Alright, he clearly wants to do this. I think that he's gonna find a particular move annoying here, and it's knight b5. So I'm gonna do knight b5 just to annoy him. Well, that's gonna hurt. Knight c7. Probably just take. He doesn't care, yeah. Oh, he doesn't even take this. Oh my goodness. Now he's in huge trouble. Also, when this bishop goes here, queen a3 is gonna hurt that pawn. Let's do it now. Just annoy him. Maybe this. Yeah, here we go c5. Like, he'll play d5 to pin our pawn, but he takes, then this bishop is loose. Yes, he's got some tricks for me, hey? Where do we want to put this thing? Let's just go here. Check. Play there. Woo. This looks really rough though. King here. I feel like you really should have a mate. Let's start with this. May as well take his bishop off the board. Okay, slowly but surely. Bishop d6 doesn't appear to be working in any lines. The thing is, his next move is probably this, so he's gonna get mated like this no matter what. So queen c7 and c5 both seem to... They'll probably get the job done. Trying to think which one looks less like it's an actual threat. Jack. And then this. And this is very very hidden. I'm not even threatening it. Okay, I don't know how he came up with this brilliancy. This absolute stunner of a move. Damn. Absolute stunner of a move. Problem is, for me, this isn't even made anymore. You know? I'm winning queens, but I'm not mating. Okay, surely this. Queen a8's nothing special. Start by taking. Okay, GG. Okay, Queen Jazzy K. We get a classic London copying us? No. Okay, when you see this move, I'm leaning towards c4. Man, people under 1200, all they do is like throw their pawns at the bishop. Have you guys noticed that? It's crazy. What is this? Okay, we can take here, but actually we can also take here. How high could I get with the London? Well, what's my current rating on my main account? Probably that high. I'll take it. I don't want him having the bishop pair for no reason, but taking the knight was extremely tempting. Just a little miniature threat there. Whoa! No, that is not correct. No way. Check. Check. King is surprisingly safe. Rook f8, pretty much necessary. It's positions like this where I'm always tempted to play moves like that, you know? Bishop b5, like, please take. Please. Just do it. Whoa, I got met by a higher tier move. Knight to b4. So if I need to claim some time here, I can let my opponent take. That'll take a couple moves. What useful moves can I make though? How am I gonna check this king? Like, where can I check from? It's not easy. Not easy at all. King probably should be there, so there's no more checking squares. I'm running out of pieces here. I am running out of pieces, but I'm really committed here. Commitment should speak volumes. I wish my king was on d1, that's for sure. Oof. How are we gonna find a mate here? Holy cow. This is a very suspicious time for a raid. Okay, guys, welcome. What we're doing here is we're not doing one of those speedruns where you try to win every game. I'm actually cosplaying as an 1100. So I'm not allowed to make very good moves. You're tuning in, you're seeing me in an interesting position here. We're actually down material. It's because I'm not allowed to make good moves. I have to play like an 1100. So welcome to the show. So I'm really just trying to get into the mind of an 1100 here. And yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing. Come on in. Welcome. Thanks so much, Alex, Andrea, both? Question mark. Well, thanks to both in general, but not sure who was streaming. Hopefully you guys had a good one. If it was Andrea, then pay attention because we're doing we're learning the London system, which I know Andrea plays. Okay, this definitely looks like a nice swing over 1100 kind of move. Okay, rook there. Perfect, perfect. get these 1100 vibes in. Gonna have to deliver this check. Check. Question mark? Rook h7 and knight g6 wins the queen. But knight c6 looks a little bit nastier. Welcome everyone. That's a huge raid. Over 3,000 of you joining our esteemed guests here on Twitch. That's a double check. Oh. What am I supposed to do now? This is a very interesting move. I'm gonna play knight to b4. And after knight to b4, we're gonna play knight d5. And after knight d5, this rook, long overdue, makes an entrance. If knight takes knight, the rook was there. Okay, how are we gonna win this damn queen? We've been working really hard for this. Like, I really have. I think I'm gonna do my thing there. Check. This was my plan from earlier. Check. Okay, I'm curious. Check. You telling me I can't win your queen, dude? Check. Maybe draw? No, we just got a raid. We can't draw? Oh, this is bad. Shh. Okay, good. Whew. Whew. It's okay. We're alive. Oh, this is great. Oh, we'll just waltz in here and take your knight. This worked out. That wasn't so bad at all. Okay. Okay. Sure. We don't mind. We don't mind. Thanks. A very cooperative opponent. We needed that. All right. Let's go for the London. Bishop f4. That's the way to start things off. c5. e3. Knight c6. So the goal is to get this this formation set up as quickly as possible. Queen b3. Now pay attention to something. He doesn't have his knight out here. He could get carried away by playing c4. We'll see what move he does. Okay, so he goes knight there, which means this is kind of a threat right now. And in the London, when they're getting their queen out early, you really want to prioritize queen side development. So I'm going to play knight d2. Now if c4, queen back, and if bishop there, it's actually a bit of an error. I'm going to take on c5 now. It's not like, you know, the biggest deal, but this is definitely a good move for white. 8-month prime resub from Andrej. There you go. Hello, YouTube. You got it, man. Thanks for the resub, buddy. Takes. Now, both moves are possible. I like taking with the pawn a lot more. I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna attack the e5 pawn with the knight. We got a threat there. And it's a little bit tricky for our opponent to navigate here. So I'm gonna start with b4. This makes a threat. b5, hitting the knight, and then this pawn would drop. And now black is kind of full-time committed. So what I'm playing right now, ooh, that looks like a mistake. I cannot say that that move is a good one. I'm gonna take that. Now this pawn is hanging, this knight is hanging, rook a6 is coming. Ooh. This could get real nasty real fast. He's gotta find some recovery moves here. But b5 is certainly a mistake. However, I want to point out that the position we were in there is already a good one for white. And this is something you can expect out of the opening in this line. We can check it a little bit after, excuse me, after the game. But this is already a good opening position, even if they don't blunder there. Rook c8. So now I can take this pawn any which way I want. I think bishop takes is nice. Knight takes is great, but bishop takes hits the bishop. And if he takes, then the knight comes in and continues to attack that. So I like bishop takes. Rook a6 is definitely a nice follow-up as well, but I like that the bishop is hanging right now, so it entices my opponent to take me on e5, which is not a good move. So there appears to be only one move that looks even playable here to me. That's a good one. Now we have an option. We can just trade everything here, take on a7. We can also just take the bishop. Knight takes, and then take on a7. We could take here and take on a7, leaving the knight on e5. We're really spoiled for choice, honestly. I'm going to choose to take here. He's going to take back with a knight. Now I think I'm going to take this. And the difference is that now if he castles, he's going to lose the knight. So I thought I was being a little clever here. If the knight moves up, then check wins the rook. So at the very least, I don't think he can castle. He did prevent me from playing b5. That's true. We can't gloss over that fact. All right, you got a point there. Okay, this move has been prevented. b5. Wondering, I mean, knight to d4 looks pretty nice. I'm gonna keep it simple. Gonna go king up, double the rooks. Rook a6 is a nice, annoying pin. How many pawns are we up here? 3 pawns, right? This is definitely a very, very good endgame. All I want to do is trade pieces. Rook a6. Trade rooks maybe with rook a8 if the knight moves. Knight c4, we're happy to trade. 3 extra pawns should be a winning advantage. Easily winning. Okay, so I really like pinning that knight here. Now the rook is stuck on the 6th rank, and the knight is stuck on that exact square. Moves like knight to d4, b5, rook b7, all look to disrupt things in the current position. Rook here might be necessary. And after b5, the only 2 squares that are on the 6th rank are occupied by black's pieces. So he's kind of getting in his own way here. Yeah, I don't see a way out here. Got to at least lose a piece. Okay, let's continue to improve things. Let's actually give this check so that we have some real estate for the pawn. We'll bring the knight to d4. Gonna actually use that thing because I mean, hey, I'm up a piece. I may as well use it. Rook here, we'll take. Now I bring the knight here. Everything's with tempo, which is always a great feeling, you know? So b7 can actually be played. It does get us a queen, but we have to, feels like we have to give up quite a lot in the meantime. Like it does queen for us, but I'm not sure if it's the best. Also, rook b7 is a little annoying, so I'm probably just gonna bring the other guy into the action. Yeah, rook a7, rook takes b6. I didn't like. Yeah, it's all gonna be winning because I am up some material, but it seems unnecessary. Let's just try to gain a little space here. Knight to f5 ideas. I see some mating nets around this king. I spy some mating nets. Starts with a knight on f5. Okay, so now the difference with this is that this is going to be a check. So I think we can play this one now. King e7, knight f5 is a kind of unfortunate blunder. GG to Evil Emil. Yeah, it's actually pretty gross here, because if the king goes here, then I can take this and it can't be taken. And if the king goes here, then I can give a check. And if the king goes here, check again, and you actually lose everything. There's no like, oh, I'm getting forked here. No, you're actually losing probably every single rook and the game immediately. GG. A respectable resignation, I would say. That it felt like it happened at the right time there, Emad. Okay, I said we were gonna check it briefly after the game. Well, let's have a look. I just wanted to mention that it's really common that your opponent against the London plays like this. Knight c6, brings the queen out to b6. Very, very common. The number one reason why people suck at playing the London system is because their opponent attacks their pawn on b2, and straight up, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. The average player that plays the London thinks that they'll get this set up perfectly every single time they play it, and when their opponent attacks their pawn here, they panic and they start playing like a 400. They'll play b3 or queen c1, both moves that look generally suspicious. You need to know how to handle it. The goal, first of all, is to get this as fast as possible. So I consider any time that c5 is played and you're playing knight f3 before knight d2 and c3, I consider it to be a mistake. You want to focus on doing your queenside development first, which is counterintuitive maybe, because usually you want to castle ASAP, but no. For London, you want to develop the queenside first. You always want to meet queen b6 with queen b3 once you've played c3 in general. And right here, if c4 happens, queen c2. This move is not quite playable because the knight's not on f6. There's this line with queen takes b2. Queen takes d5 because of that. And after queen takes rook, this weird move, queen b5. And black's in this awkward position where they can't play rook b8. The knight's defended. Taking a2 doesn't matter in general. White's next move is probably going to be bishop takes anyway. Queen takes b7 is a massive threat that's almost going to win the game on the spot. And white just also has an idea to play knight f3, bishop c4, and castle. And even though white's down material, black's pieces are barely even moving, and white's just going to be completely winning here. So this is a common thing that black does, which is no good. If their knight is out, which is what happened in my game, then knight d2, and now the same thing doesn't work because the rook isn't trapped. That's just, it's not a thing. So yeah, in the game my opponent played bishop f5, which is very normal. Maybe he thinks to himself, oh, I'm not going to do this because that doesn't work anymore. So instead he does this first, thinking now I'll play this, and white doesn't have that available. So what I did was I took, and now suddenly this is once again a good position for white. If you take, well, simply queen takes b7, I'm hitting the rook, and again, rook b8's not available. Bishop b5 is coming, knight b3. White's going to be winning again. Which means you have to take, which means if you don't play this move and take your pawn back, I'm going to play b4 and hang on to it forever. So again, everything you see here is pretty forced. My opponent isn't playing too poorly, it's just like, it's all forced. Knight f3, you do not want to play this move as black. It looks really bad. This square is mine. You're blocking your own pieces. So my opponent once again plays a pretty good move, like bishop here. You know, it makes sense. And I just decided to play b4, trying to go for b5 here. And this is where the first blunder came. But even if my opponent didn't play b5, which basically loses, you know, I'm threatening b5 to hit this pawn. There's not many moves to do here, you know. Knight d7, and probably the last thing I'll mention about this line is that as soon as you know, you're making these threats in the opening, a big time move for white in this line is knight d4. Yeah, it's kind of a cool looking move as well. You get to flex a little bit, but knight d4 often really annoys black's position. So That's the last thing I'll say about this one. We're getting too advanced, Kappa. But most of it's free forced. But if I played this move here, that would throw everything off. Then everything I said just doesn't apply. We'll go here. And because I made this move, I don't have my knight here. So none of this works, right? My rook is trapped. So everything gets thrown off in this opening if you make like one move kind of at a turn. You need to focus on the queen side. Anyway, it's a good game. Go for another game, and we get the white pieces. Okay, let's go with this. We're up against the Genketo system. With these ones, like I have said, I usually like to go for fairly quick H3. What is this? Well, you gotta count how many people are attacking, how many people are defending. We can take either way here. I sort of like the idea of knight takes because his king's in the middle. I don't want to trade more pieces. I want to have as many pieces on the board as possible. Trickier for him to handle. Knight c3 and long castle is going to be a great tempo move. Okay. Castle. You can pre-move this move in a position like this. Like, it is a safe pre-move. Rook takes here. Do I have better than that? This does look pretty good, but rook takes and knight takes f7 wins a pawn. It's not that good, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe bishop c4 or bishop d5 would be nicer moves here. I'm kind of liking the vibes of bishop to c4. But to be honest, if he plays this move, I don't have much. I don't know much. This is looking pretty sturdy the more I see it. Just keep it simple. This pawn's also hanging, but allows the whoa. Rook to d8. That is a big time move. He says, look, I don't care, man. Your knight's trapped. Impressive. Rook here, knight to b5. If he takes that, it's with a check. And if he tries to dislodge the knight, then knight d6 is going to hurt. Killeneth. Alright, GG there. There wasn't much to this game. I mean, I definitely intentionally played knight here to cover the e5 square, but my next move was going to be knight here, and if knight there, I was going to go h3, tuck that bishop, and my setup would be something like bishop e2 castle, and depending what he did, either c3 or c4. If c3, then, you know, it's probably because my opponent's playing more like this, and if c4, it's because they're not really committing c5 yet. Tough game though. I mean, he basically gave me a center pawn for free and gave up his castling rights, so he was dead right off the bat. Games with black are too stressful. Back to the London. Well, we've had one game where they played c5, and I think I said, just play d5. Don't try to play the London against it. Same with this. This will basically be like my explanation of how to play against this. I always play the exact same way every single time. Every time. Right? So the knight can just take back. You take the center. And this way you don't get involved in any of this completely winning stuff for black, like, you know, the Hambleton special, the undefeated. Right? So knight c3, let him take back, right? Okay, e4, take the center. f4, kick the knight. Gotta go somewhere. And whether or not my opponent played this move, what you're looking at would still be on the board more or less. Okay, knight f3. Gonna play these 4 moves right off the bat almost every time. This bishop means I'm probably playing queen d4. If he wants to give me the dark square bishop, so be it. And if he doesn't, so be it. Fine with me. This position is so exposed now on the king side that, you know, even me just getting a bishop there is probably gonna hurt. e5 looks really strong here. Bishop here. There might be an idea to capture on e4, so I'm just gonna start with this one. Long castle. Definitely thinking about knight e4 here. Good looking kind of move. Yeah, I'm liking knight e4 probably a little too much. It looks too good. This guy's hanging. Probably take with the rook, and even though the f4 pawn hangs, I think we just kick the knight out. Next move, and knight f6 is a problem. Oh. So b4 traps this guy. Can't really think of a better move than this. Still knight f6 looming if he moves that knight. Knight takes, then this. Okay. Let's go e1 to stop that, so that after bishop e7 we play this. Takes here, then we'll be hitting everything after. Yeah, I think we want to grab that. It's a trade as well, which never hurts. Bishop e4, also even just trading pieces here. I know it's not a great trade, but still, trading pieces always gets you closer to your goal. Those rooks are skewered now. Sadly, this game will not get us to 1200. We're gonna need one more after this. We're also up a piece here, so any trades are good, especially ones where I get something more valuable than what I'm giving up. D5 pawn takes? No. Just rook b8. Okay, he's opening up the G file, which to me looks very scary. Start with this. Knight e3. h3 and bishop f4 appears to win some material. Not even sure if I want the material though. We might be able to go for mate. Oh, okay, well, this one's a little hard to refuse. There we go, 11.99. We're gonna need one more game for 1200. Once again, yes, you cannot play the London against this. Please don't. That's why I say my first rule of this entire series is don't pre-move bishop f4. Don't do it. It's not worth it. After d4, there's only 2 moves that really prevent the London. This is just bad. c5, I always recommend d5. I know it's not the London, but it's just a good move, good opening. And if you really love the London, play c3 after c5, but I think it's a little bit worse. And then e5. I always take, never try to defend this pawn, just give it back. Play e4, f4, knight f3. And you'll see how that works out maybe against other openings as well, but that's been pretty foolproof. Thank you for making it to the end of today's episode of the London System series. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment below and like the video, and don't forget to subscribe right there and turn post notifications on so you never miss the next video. Speaking of next video, if you want more of the London System series, click right there.